Okay, so we've taken care of this larger radius to be whatever our diameter is, divided by 2. Let's fix this upper arc here to make sure it has a diameter or a radius of that d value divided by 8. So we'll always have that relationship. Whatever our d is divided by 8 will be this little guy here. So let's take our dimension and point to that. The radius needs to be, and if you just hit the pound, it's going to bring up any variable that we've created. And there it is, the d divided by 8. And hit OK. And it updates. Now we need this distance here between the two arcs to be d over 2. Grab this point and this point, and let's say that's going to be d. If I type d, it'll say, oh, do you mean pound d? Yes, I do. Divided by 2. And there it is. Now everything is black here, so it's all constrained. The other thing we need is a hole in the middle. So let's make a hole. But before we do, I'm going to make a new configuration. So I'm going to say OK on the sketch for now. Come over here to configuration panel. And let's define another variable. So come down here to the arrow, configuration variable. And let's call this our hole diameter. Hole diameter. And if you want every hole you make called hole diameter to be 0.25, this is one way to do it. Say OK. And that's now over here. So if I go into my sketch now and make a hole, have it constrained to the center there. And how big do I want that to be? Well, I want it to be, oops, don't do that. Let's see here. Front. I want that, oops, escape. My dimension that hole size to be, I just hit the pound there, and I want the hole diameter there. So I just click on it, hit enter, and it will give that hole diameter. Yay. Green check. Now let's extrude that thing. But before we do, let's define another variable. And we'll call this thickness. Okay, so I just went into my configuration panel, down here, added another variable, call it thickness. And anytime I extrude something, since I'm using 1/4-inch material, let's just define that as 0.25 as the thickness of the material. So now, when I go to extrude, here where it says, well, I want to extrude that, not an inch, but hit the pound, and it says, oh, what do you want? Thickness. Cool. And done. So now let's get rid of our configuration panel here. Why did we do all that nonsense? Well, look over here. Let's say I don't want it this size. I just want to change the overall size of it, but not the hole. So I come over here and I say, oh, I want it to be 3 inches. So it just changed everything proportionately, but left the hole the same size. Well, what if I want to change my hole to be like 0.5? Well, it'll only change that now. And I can change, let's say I want to use 1/8-inch material. So I can type in 1/8 for my material now. So I can make global changes right away. Okay, I'm going to get these back to the default. Or actually, it doesn't matter. There you have it.